We've had a second weekend of Black Adam in the theaters, and the movie seems to be doing well. But now we have a new report from Deadline that's mapped out its box office trajectory. And I have to say, this movie appears like it could very well be a box office failure. Let's talk about what Deadline had to say and why I think it's not stacking up so great for Black Adam. Now, I enjoy Black Adam, but it does seem to have divided some fans and, quite honestly, critics. But it appears when you look at the box office, the movie's doing okay, but I think appears is the proper word. Now, it has had a really great drop-off over the first weekend, and internationally it only dropped off 48%, bringing its total to $139 million worldwide. Throw in the domestic box office, which is also doing great, and the movie seems to have raced up the $250 million mark, which would seem like all in all good news. The film also has pretty clear run all the way up to Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which arrives on November the 11th. So what's the problem that we see here? Well, despite this film hitting that $100 million mark quicker than any other DC movie, we probably should keep a close eye on what the actual totals are. It's pretty much had its full international release with only Japan left, and there's no China release on the horizon, meaning we are coming closer and closer to the final tallies. Now, the team over at Deadline did a full breakdown of the box office, and they pointed out this movie is likely to top out at around $400 million. Now, compared to other recent superhero movies, that's really not so great. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness closed in on $1 billion, but only got $955 million, and Thor Love and Thunder did $760. This film seems to be coming in closer to The Eternals, which did $400, and Shang-Chi at $432. But both movies were released during the pandemic, and that's not what I would call a good thing. Now, many people have pointed out this does actually beat Shazam, and while that's a good thing, Shazam only did $366 million. The big details come from the price tag. The Shazam production only cost between $80 and $100 million, while Black Adam appears to have been about a $200 million production. Typically, studios take about half of that box office totals. It varies from region to region, but that's the general accepted industry standard. This means Black Adam would need to get to $400 million just to break even on production. That doesn't include promotional costs, which add to the final price tag. This is something that has been sort of a drag on many DC movies, where they seem to do pretty well at the box office, but the back-end production cost drives their profit line so high they barely reach the finish line. Now, this doesn't mean the movie is a flop, but it's not a runaway hit, and I have to say, numbers like these would probably make it pretty hard to convince an executive or investors to do this once again. Now, obviously there's some more money to be made in merchandise and the subsequent digital sales that typically go with one of these releases, but those are not what they used to be, and I doubt they make a substantial impact in the overall financial footprint of the movie. While I did enjoy the movie, and I don't consider it a failure of a film at all, it was a lot of fun, I will say the movie not making the money that it really needed to make, especially considering the current financial situation of Warner Bros. Discovery, is not a good thing, and I think it could impact the plans for the character moving forward. The Rock seemed to be driving this idea that he would face off with Superman, but I do think at this point we're going to see some moving around of that potential face-off, and I think it might be time to get to work on a Shazam crossover for the third entry of that film. We'll have to wait and see how Fury of the Gods does next year, because if it also has a low return, we might not be seeing much more of that in the future under James Gunn, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, we're going to cover everything involving the power of Shazam on this channel, so make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll bring you the magic as soon as it drops. But until we know more, what do you guys think? How do you feel about Black Adam barely getting out of the red ink at the box office? And do you think this will change future plans for the character or give The Rock less power steering that direction? Tell me what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you hit like, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates. Peace.